The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
Good evening, this is TV1 News. I'm Maricela Kelaton.
And I'm Jasmine Nero. Join me later in the bulletin for sports.
In this edition, lay businesses frustrated at coding changes, Bundi landslides worsening, and successful cricketers return home. A police officer from the Minj police station in Jiwaka province has been arrested and charged with 1 count of dangerous driving, causing death, and 1 count of grievous bodily harm. Assistant Commissioner Highlands Eastern End Division, Regan Negi, said the officer is in police custody awaiting court appearance. The charges stem from a traffic accident on January 9, 2023 along the Minj Road, involving 2 vehicles. The off-duty police officer drove 1 vehicle while a young engineer believed to be from Eastern Highlands drove the other vehicle. Both were allegedly under the influence of alcohol and traveling at high speed. 1 female passenger died from injuries sustained in the accident, while passengers in both vehicles were seriously injured. ACP Negi reported that an independent investigation team from the Western Highlands and Cebu province is investigating the death of the young engineer whose body was found at Wagi Bridge. Lay businesses are frustrated with the change in coding and backcharge by Papua New Guinea Customs. Chief Executive Officer of the Lay Biscuit Company, Ian Chow, questioned the reasoning behind charging companies for the previous financial years using the new tariff.
Businesses in Papua New Guinea are already operating in unfavorable conditions, such as constant power outages, resulting in worn-out equipment and increased operational costs. Chief Executive Officer of the Lay Biscuit Company, Ian Chow, said another barrier was added when PNG Customs recently changed the coding of certain goods. LBC was affected when the coding on shortening was changed and duty was added. On top of that, the charges were backdated to 5 years earlier, meaning companies have to pay the new rate for the previous financial years.
I was here arguing with the customs people and said, listen, hey, if you change the coding, you're going to affect the 9 million people in this country because I'm going to increase my price. You know, you have the decision in your hand to say, no, I won't change the coding and I'll keep the price the same. You, only one person. But they changed. Not just on me, on a lot of business. So the prices have gone up, people are complaining. It's gone up 50, 100%, not just biscuit, everything. Because a lot of the coding will change. It was easy to come to us to collect money than to do it the hard way and slash your budget, try not to spend so much, I'm talking about the government, spend less, spend it more efficiently, and look at what you can do to get the jobs and get the money into people's hands.
In terms of backcharge, Chow questioned the rationale of fining companies for the past financial years.
You've already ordered us every year since then, and you've checked us already, and it's not our fault. If you want to put the new duty, you put it from today onwards, not put it back in arrears. So these companies who are fighting these arrears are saying, if I have to pay that 20 million, I'm going to close my door because I've sold that product already. My accounts have been closed on those already. So if you're giving me a 20 million tax bill, well, I can't possibly pay it.
Another company hard hit by the change is Panamex, who import soap noodles. Panamex Pacific PNG General Manager Eric Illman said the business has been operating in PNG for 50 years and has always been compliant with previous year audits, Yet Customs changed the codes and put a 20% duty on soap noodles. He said the back charge of 5 years is putting companies at risk of closing. Salome Vincent, TV1 News.
Panamex Pacific is appealing to PNG Customs to stop beating up on the good guys and catch the bad guys. Panamex Pacific PNG General Manager Eric Illman said this when a 20-foot container of fake Waswa soap was intercepted by Lay police on the night of Thursday, March 16.
Following a tip-off, Lay police intercepted a 20-foot container of fake Waswa soap on the night of Thursday, March 16th. It is believed the fake products were bound for Mount Hagen in Western Highlands Province. Panamex invited PNG Customs officers to be part of the operation on Friday morning. However, Customs advised Panamex that since the container had left the wharf, it is now out of their jurisdiction. Panamex Pacific PNG General Manager Eric Illman said the counterfeit product passed through Customs PNG. That was why he said, stop beating up on the good guys and catch the bad guys. Illman outlined that Panamex has been supporting PNG Made for the last 20 years, adding it's very easy for PNG Customs to tackle businesses that are transparent and are out in the open. But what about individuals and companies that are doing the wrong thing and importing counterfeit products? Illman said local jobs are at risk when counterfeit products enter PNG shores, as in the case of Waswa soap, which is made by Papua New Guineans in PNG. The General Manager drew attention to the 20% duty on soap noodles and the 5-year back charge, saying when import tax is being applied on raw materials, you will kill manufacture in PNG because our cost of production are much higher than outside of PNG. He questioned why those conducting illegal businesses are not pursued while companies that are compliant with PNG laws and guidelines are pursued unfairly. Salome Vincent, TV1 News.
Meantime, Lay Metropolitan Superintendent Chris Kunyanban said stringent laws should be made to protect the interest of business houses in PNG. Chief Superintendent Kunyanban made this statement when confirming that a 20-foot container carrying fake Waswa soap was intercepted and kept at the Top Town Police Station on Friday, March 17. Referring to it as a national security issue, Kunyanban said while foreign exchange is the main issue that is affected companies like Lay Biscuit and Panamex, counterfeit products are also on their list of concerns. He believes local products are not moving because fake products are being circulated. He said the government has to be serious in protecting the economy of this country, and if people involved in counterfeits are found, they have to be heavily fined, immediately deported and blacklisted, never to enter the country again. The Japanese Development Institute have been engaged by the Ministry of International Trade and Investment to assess proposed sites for the special economic zones in Papua New Guinea. Minister responsible Richard Maru said JDI has been assessing possible SEZ sites over 6 months, and they will be recommending how to move forward with SEZ licensing.
Journey for our country.
Minister for International Trade and Investment Richard Maru said the ministry has been working with the Japanese Development Institute to do assessment on the proposed special economic zone sites. They have since visited 21 sites in 6 months.
During that presentation, they will say, of all the ones we visited, this is how we rank them, using this criteria. And the ones which are easiest to do and the best to do and you can do right now in terms of granting licenses and moving are these ones, the lowest hanging fruit. These ones are slightly difficult.
After these presentations, it will be made known how to apply for a SEZ license to operate. Mr. Maru said one cannot acquire a SEZ license through political means, but on zones that have a commercial merit and a proper business case if it meets the requirements.
In every other country of the world, they have only one SEZ legislation, one national framework, one SEZ authority, and everybody is processed through a license process. This will be explained in detail during the summit, and everybody will know.
Meantime, the ministry has appointed a committee to take charge of the preparations towards and during the summit. The committee members include Minister Maru as chairman, PNG SEZ Authority CEO Kikila Yavase, Philemon Tamari, a representative from Japan Development Institute, Peter Kengemar, Managing Director of Proposed IHU's SEZ, and Kamala Gabina, Executive Director of the Business Council of PNG. Frida Kana, TV1 News.
Papua New Guinea is set to host its first ever Special Economic Zone Summit this May. The two-day event was announced in a press conference today by Minister for International Trade and Industry, Richard Maru. Minister Maru, supported by his Vice Minister, Kesi Sawang, informed the country that the SEZ Summit will take place from May 8 to 9 in Port Moresby.
Minister for International Trade and Industry Richard Maru announced today that Papua New Guinea is ready to host the Special Economic Zone Summit this May in Port Moresby. Minister Maru urged Papua New Guineans to apply as soon as possible because there are only 370 spaces for those intending to participate.
Where we are going to bring global experts from around the world and over 370 delegates from Papua New Guinea into Stanley, where our government will, for the first time, define what HZs are, types of HZs, the trend around the world and over the last 40 years when HZs were introduced across the world.
Maru said Papua New Guinea already has a number of special economic zones, but people do not know, like the industrial park in Malahang and also the PMIZ, which was an attempt to establish an industrial park.
The Marabe government in 2019 passed the Special Economic Zone legislation, which provided a legal framework for the first time to establish special economic zones. There are different types of economic zones, but just the one name HZ. That will be explained. So you can have free tax-free zones, you can have industrial parks, export processing zones.
Minister Maru emphasized that there will be 370 spaces for Papua New Guineans who are interested to learn about the SEZ during the summit. The purpose of the summit is to explain to Papua New Guineans what special economic zones are, the different types, the global experience from countries like China, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, and Malaysia, which countries have been very successful, why they are successful, and what Papua New Guinea can learn from their experiences. He added, this is what will be covered on the first day of the summit. The second day will be the Papua New Guinea Day, where for the first time a new policy for special economic zone is going to be proposed by the ministry. A draft of the policy will be provided to attendees to review and comment, including international delegates. Frida Kana, TV1 News.
This is TV1 News. Stay tuned for more after the break.
With BSP Internet Banking, you can enjoy your banking at home, at work, or wherever you are. BSP Personal Internet Banking allows you to view your accounts and transactions, transfer money, bill pay, schedule future payments, or access your bank statements. Visit your nearest BSP branch to register now. BSP Internet Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSP, our bank, our people.
Open Nets.
It's that time again! Scale Rice is giving you the chance to win win some Scout School money for 2023. Over 220 winners. 4 fortnightly draws, that's 55 fortnightly winners. Cash prizes starting at 1,000 kina, 2,000 kina, 3,000 kina. They also have consolation prizes of 500 kina. Buy any Scout rice or Ori rice to enter the promotion for your chance to win the Scout School money. Terms and conditions apply.
Scout rice,
the grain changer.
We see you day in, day out, getting on with the job. Coming out on top because you're not one to back down. From the islands to islands, from the southern to the north, we see you moving heaven and earth to move our country forward. And at the end of the day, we will be there to serve Papua New Guineans who achieve success with the reward they deserve.
Quick favorite meal for the day does feel good. Snacks noodles is my choice for a simple meal. It is easy to prepare and fast to cook. And with a touch of flavor and ingredients, quality noodles that can be cooked and enjoyed in many different ways. You see, my whole family loves it. It's made here in PNG and comes in different pack sizes. Snacks noodles, tastier but you like it more.
Just starting to bubble up. Here's the leg. Solid hit. Can't stop the powerhouse from Papua New Guinea.
Welcome to the John's Family Podcast, people.
Sort of.
What are you
laughing at?
I just thought of something. I don't feel like dancing. On that note, guys, have a good week. We'll speak to you next week.
Welcome back. 2 months of continuous rainfall has caused 6 major landslides that completely blocked off the road from Simbu to Bundi in Medan province, affecting coffee and vanilla farmers and the 20,000 people of Bundi. Director Kumura Foundation Vincent Kumura is calling on the local level and provincial governments of Simbu and Medan to assist with road clearing.
Director of Kumura Foundation, Vincent Kumura, said the foundation, under its community service focus, has partnered with 2 local SME owners to mobilize 49 youths to clear up the Simbu to Bundi road, which has been blocked off by major landslides. The disaster has affected SMEs, coffee and vanilla farmers, and the 20,000 people of Bundi, including the sick and elderly. Kumura said 2 months of continuous rainfall has impeded road access, adding it took the team of young men almost 2 weeks to clear up just a pathway for vehicles to pass through using chainsaws, digging sticks, crowbars, bush knives and spades. The foundation thanked Nelson Gandai of Yandera and David Mongoma of Simbu for mobilizing their boys to work, including the 16 youths of Pomi village of Upper Bundi. Even though access is now created, the continuous rainfall means more proper work needs to be done. Kumura said on Friday the Upper Bundi ambulance was stuck in debris at Mondia Pass. It took 3 hours for a team of 16 boys from Pomia village to dig, pull and push through the huge pile of debris to get the vehicle over to Simbu. Fortunately, there was no patient on board. It could have been disastrous for them. Furthermore, Kumura said the 31-kilometer road from Simbu to Snow Pass and Yandera is in very bad state and needs urgent government assistance for road maintenance. The foundation is calling for respective government authorities to respond quickly in clearing up the landslides and maintain the road link to Bundi. Salome Vincent, TVWAN News.
The Vabukori Women's Development Association celebrated a belated World International Women's Day with wife of Governor General Lady Emily Dadai. Lady Dadai was invited as guest speaker. His speech reflected on the theme Embrace Equity. Lady Dadai shared to the women that the issue of gender equity between men and women has been drawing immense attention and worldwide publicity. She added that government, organizations as well as NGOs are taking stock of and prioritizing gender equity as the way forward towards realizing development goals and positive outcomes for communities and the nation. She reminded mothers, wives and sisters that respect can be harnessed into making a better and secure environment and community. She emphasized that rather than fighting over or competing with male counterparts, it was time to focus on utilizing abilities and responsibilities. Minister for Foreign Affairs Justin Churchenko will be visiting 3 different countries in Southeast Asia to build on diplomatic ties. He starts with Indonesia today. The minister left the country for Jakarta earlier this afternoon to meet Indonesia's Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi to review the basic border agreement.
Minister for Foreign Affairs Justin Churchenko will be traveling today to begin his duty travel to 3 different Asian countries in Southeast Asia to build on diplomatic relationships. Mr. Churchenko begins with Indonesia. He traveled to Jakarta today to meet with Indonesia's Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi to review the basic border agreement.
In the last couple of weeks, you've seen on the floor of Parliament that we have passed the basic border agreement, which opens the way now for a full review for all parties to come on board and review the basic border agreement and talk about our boundaries, talk about our trade, talk about our traditions, our culture, and our people.
The long outstanding border agreement was reviewed 3 times. The latest review was in 2013. In Parliament on Wednesday, March the 15th, the minister successfully rectified the process.
Review a long outstanding border agreement, that is now going to be reviewed with those members that are on the borders, that live on the borders, their districts on the borders, as well as defence, as well as policing, so that we have a common understanding with our border of West Papua, Indonesia and Papua New Guinea.
Minister Churchenko will be in Indonesia for 3 days. He visits Malaysia and China next. Jasmine Nero, TVWAN News.
Furthermore, Minister Churchenko says there will be a dialogue regarding West Papua on his trip to Indonesia. He says the agenda will include discussions on Indonesia's sovereignty and the handling of the West Papuan issues and how these issues affect Papua New Guineans and the people of West Papua.
As you know, it's a long outstanding issue. There's been a lot of allegations about human rights issues that have been brought up with the Pacific Islands Forum and also with the previous governments and governments of Papua New Guinea over many years. So this Indonesian government is a proactive government, and they want to make sure that Papua New Guinea understands what it's doing about the West Papuan issue. And also, as we have stated and our Prime Minister stated, if Indonesia needs our assistance or needs our help on this issue, we are there to help them.
The reciprocal visa exemption agreements between Papua New Guinea and Indonesia has been officially passed and signed off by the National Executive Council. Before he left for Indonesia today, Foreign Affairs Minister Churchenko aims to ratify long overdue cooperation agreements and treaties over the coming months.
We have officially passed the reciprocal visa arrangements between Papua New Guinea and Indonesia. So those that have a diplomatic passport or official passport can get visa on arrival here in Papua New Guinea and also in Indonesia. That has been passed by the National Executive Council and has been signed off by the Prime Minister, ready to go to Parliament for ratification.
A triumph orientation day for the Papua New Guinea Young Professional Women's Network as Miss Pacific Islands Josie Nicholas had the chance to speak to the young women at the University of Papua New Guinea. The theme for the network was "An Influential Woman is a Woman of Substance." Nicholas shared what she sees a woman of substance as. She broke it down to introspective, empathic, and faithful. She welcomed new members as well as women who continue the mission of promoting and sustaining Indigenous women professionals with the motto, "Networking to build, not to break." This has been done by standing on the values of solidarity, integrity, transparency, and originality. Nicholas encourages all women to support networking. And that ends the news segment. Taking us to the break now is the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. After the break, we'll have news from around the region. Stay tuned.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
It's Smile O'Clock. It's Smile O'Clock. Gotta brush our teeth? Time o'clock. Did you have a nice day?
Real good.
Hanging out
In the neighborhood.
had something and now it's time to
Relax.
Put on some PJs after
Taking a
bath. Wanna read a story, but look,
It's Smile O'Clock.
gotta brush our teeth
Time o'clock.
before it gets late.
Yeah, all of us.
Everybody's happy when we
Brush, brush, brush.
Yeah. Smile O'Clock. Smile O'Clock. Time o'clock. So brush, brush, brush.
When you're spending time with family, when you've got a big day ahead, when you have given it all you've got, when you're putting on a feast, that's when you want the best. That's when you want flame rice. New flame rice. Win him, Olgeta.
When skin tends to lack natural oil, it is termed dry skin. Refresh and rehydrate with the Neutrogena Hydro Boost range. Here's a simple 3-step routine. 1. Hydro Boost Cleanser. It is gentle, won't clog pores, and adds moisture to the skin, unlike soap. Step 2. A moisturizer, such as this one, for replenishment. Step 3. Bright Eyes. A specially formulated eye roll-on. Infuses moisture around the delicate eye area. And there you go. Be beautiful, be you.
Tasmania is Australia's smallest state, lying about 240 kilometres south of the mainland. Join me on my journey through this beautiful island state as I experience the produce, people and culture that makes this an unforgettable island.
Last time we saw you, you're a World Cup winner.
I want to fight the best, and I don't care if I lose.
Hard work does pay off. Joey, did I just call you Joey?
Okay, then.
I think I'm the only player in Roosters history to be shifted because of the cap. Where? And they couldn't find it.
This is better than a fairy tale. You can't dream these scenarios. It's on its way. It's there. Away go Oya. It's a kick. It's a goal. It's a beauty.
Welcome back. A boom in beekeeping in the Pacific has helped improve yield and quality for more than 30% of the country's pollination-dependent crops, but it comes at an inopportune time as Fiji grapples with a varroa mite invasion and adverse weather events. It has presented beekeepers in the Pacific nation with a dilemma. There is an untapped potential to export high-value, niche-marketed honey products, and Australian researchers are working to create new market opportunities for Fijian honey abroad. But the Pacific's bees are hungry and struggling with pests. Hungry bees are a challenge the industry faces, not just across the Pacific, but also in Australia. A new report has revealed a sharp rise in homelessness in Queensland over the past few years. The Queensland government has questioned the methodology used in collating this report.
This new report released today has really outlined some shocking figures when it comes to homelessness across Queensland. In fact, it says that homelessness has risen by 22% over the last 5 years across Queensland. That is 3 times the national average. It's even worse when it comes to regional Queensland. It has risen by 29%. The report also says we have 40,000, or around 46,000 people, I should say, that are currently on the social housing wait list. The highest demands are in areas like Logan, Bow Desert, the Scenic Rim, and also on the Gold Coast. Last year, the Queensland government, the Palaszczuk government, did commit to building around 13,000 social and affordable homes by the year 2027. But the author of this report says we need to see a much more drastic action. In fact, we need to see around 11,000 homes built every single year to keep up with the demands of social housing. In fact, in the report it says 150,000 households' needs for social housing are currently going unmet, meaning people are either homeless or they're paying more than 30% of the household income on rent. The Queensland government has responded to this. It says, well, it has questioned the methodology used to come up with this report, and it says it is seeking its own modelling on this.
The UN Central Emergency Response Fund has approved a $1.7 million funding for recovery efforts in Vanuatu following the twin cyclone destruction earlier this month. The Vanuatu government have confirmed the funding will specifically support 3 key areas: food security, water and sanitation, hygiene, and emergency shelter, targeted at the most vulnerable and most affected populations in Vanuatu. This was announced last week in a Pacific humanitarian team meeting hosted jointly by the government of Vanuatu and the UN. An emergency operations center is being set up at Menindee in New South Wales Far West to coordinate the cleanup of the Darling River. Millions of fish have washed up dead in the past few days, and residents are concerned about how it's affecting the town's water supply.
Carcasses float in largely stagnant water that backs onto homes and businesses in Menindee.
There'd have to be 1 million fish dead within, a kilometre of the river. It's not pleasant. It's a shame the camera can't pick up on the smell.
Stephen Howes uses the river to irrigate his vineyard. He's worried what the water will do to his crops and equipment, but grateful his home has bore water.
There's plenty of people along here that actually don't have the bore water, and they rely on this water for everything in their house, washing, showering. How would you like to shower in that water at the moment? Ooh.
One of those people is Karen Page, who watched this river rise up to flood her house 8 weeks ago.
Other than rainwater, which my rainwater tank's just here, we 100% rely on that river for our household domestic use.
Her tank is nearly empty. She can't understand why it's taking so long for help to arrive.
As soon as they seen what was happening, they should have had that equipment here. They should have already been cleaning this out.
It's the 4th fish kill in 6 years, but by far the largest, caused by low oxygen levels in the water combined with hot temperatures as floodwaters recede. Experts worry it could take years to recover.
It does mean that those populations may not rebound as quickly or at the same magnitude. And it also means that's when we do have the risk pest species can actually just take over that spot, which makes it even harder for native fish to recover.
Late today, authorities announced plans for a clean-up operation and pledged to truck in clean water to residents who need it.
When we return, we'll have the sports segment with Jasmine. Stay with us.
Super Rugby Pacific. The pride of the Pacific Islands on display.
First and exclusive.
The one thing they ask of us is to stay here, where it's safe.
We not only lack dominion over nature, we're subordinate to it.
A moving picture. This is absurd.
The modern world comes to Downton.
There's nothing like this bunker and satellite images.
I can take you to it.
The safety of my men is paramount. First and exclusive. All new on Saturdays.
Oh, guys, we want to hang on to something!
That's lava.
It's getting closer. Have you ever seen a dinosaur before?
Not with skin on it! Timber's just starting to bubble up. Here's the labour. Oh, solid hit.
Right now, we're facing a man-made disaster of global scale. Our greatest threat in thousands of years, climate change. If we don't take action, the collapse of our civilizations and the extinction of much of the natural world is on the horizon.
Before we get underway tonight, I just want to say, what are you looking for in a woman? It's. You've got to help. Oh, right. You've got to help. Yeah. And it's going to be a massive year on Fox League.
Welcome back. Cricket PNG Men's Academy and the PNG Lewers are back in the country after taking the inaugural Pacific Islands Cricket Challenge in Suva, Fiji. The men's team beat Samoa comprehensively before beating Vanuatu in the grand final. For the Lewers, Coach Rodney Maha said the PNG girls were a class above the Pacific Islands opponents, going through the tournament undefeated and were declared inaugural champions.
We had a really good tournament, and also probably our ladies were, I think, the outstanding ones because of how easy it was for them. Probably our level was a bit higher than the other girls. But for men, also we had a very tight game on the last game, and I think our boys did really well to win that match when Vanuatu was cruising. Yeah, so overall, we had a really good tour.
Sub-City Raiders women's team recorded a major win on Sunday against star-studded RLC AVE side 8-4 to take out the 2023 JT Super Nines title for the women's grand final. Both teams were tied at 4, all after regulation time, forcing the contest into golden point time to decide the winner.
RLC Ave had the services of Karen Orchids, Vero Vaula and the Malabag sisters Lila and Rose up against an unknown Sub-City Raiders outfit who scored a winning try in golden point time to shock their more fancied opponents and favourites 8-4 at full time. The Ave women's team is from the Golden Suburb, with bulk of their girls seasoned players from the Port Moresby Rugby League competition. Raiders, predominantly a touch team, had their backs against the wall trying to contain and match their star-studded opponents. To their surprise, Raiders put up a brave fight in the first half that saw both teams scoring a try apiece going into half-time at 4-all. After the break, the Sabama girls, coached by former Hobart West Rugby League legend Alu Poka, came out of the shed with a spring in their step and eventually putting the contest to sleep with a try to clinch what could be the biggest upset in the JT9's women's competition.
He's going for the line!
Sub-City!
Wow. Sub-City Raiders!
Eu sou play most apply touch role. Some play most applause na first time dolo come play rugby or come play. Some play me plus play rugby. Bami talk good plus spirit straight me play come on time. So I talk me play no waste. No God less me play come na come straight lock up.
Terry Longwood, TVWAN Sports.
Athletes and coaches from Nauru, Samoa, Kiribati, Vanuatu and Papua New Guinea are in Honiara, Solomon Islands for Oceania Paralympic High Performance Training Camp. The 6-day high performance training at the SI National Institute of Sport and will be joined by host Solomon Islands as the 6th country to undergo the high performance training.
Athletes and coaches from Samoa, Vanuatu, Kiribati, Nauru, Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands will engage in athletics, table tennis, powerlifting and archery during this 6-day program. They will be supported by high-performance international coaches from Australia to provide mentorship. Solomon Islands National Institute of Sports, CINIS, has been chosen by the Oceania Paralympic Committee to host the elite athletes and coaches from the Pacific countries. The camp started on Sunday, March 19 and ends Saturday, March 25. The athletes will also have support from the CINIS performance support staff who will provide a range of services as well as an education series during the high-performance camp. OPC President Paul Bird, having expressed his excitement as well for the program, said it is hoped the opportunity will perfect coaching, trainings and competition skills and that it will also motivate athletes to be the best they can be. SI National Paralympic Committee President Nihal Senevirante and the Parasports national coaches have selected a competitive squad of youth and experience to attend the high-performance camp. The athletes and coaches will engage in 5 days of training before a competition will be held on the final day. Athletes will also go through the critical classification process, which helps identify their sport classification to compete in specific parasports events. Terry Longwood, TVWAN Sports.
Lead Global Football's governing body FIFA has called on the Oceania Football Federation to embrace opportunities in order to advance to the World Cup. President Gianni Infantino presented this challenge while addressing the OFC Congress in Kigali, Rwanda recently.
Game, Papua New Guinea against Tonga.
PNG Football Association President John Capinato has taken on board this challenge and says PNGFA will work closely with OFC and FIFA to grow football in the country. Capinato was present at the recent 73rd FIFA Congress, where FIFA President Gianni Infantino was re-elected to another 4-year term. FIFA has given 2 spots, 1 guaranteed place and a second potentially via a playoff in the World Cup as a special concession, hence called on OFC to step up its game to compete at the global stage. Capinato met with OFC and FIFA presidents along with FIFA Council members and discussed the way forward for PNG to harness the opportunities available. PNG has already seen some success when it qualified for the Women's World Cup playoffs in New Zealand in February after it won the OFC Women's Nations Cup last year. Capinato said the 73rd FIFA Congress was indeed a special one for FIFA and football in many respects. On a positive note, FIFA said PNG is the sleeping giant of Oceania in football and reaffirmed its commitment and support to the PNGFA to integrate football as a tool to transform and empower the youth, the next generation of Papua New Guineans to achieve their goals. Salome Vincent, TV1 Sports.
Border Storms are the new champions of the annual JT Super Rugby League 9s tournament after defeating Mosby South Foundation Club. Sub-City Raiders 31-12 in the senior men's grand final played at the Mosby South Stadium, Calgary on Sunday. Apart from winning the cup, Storms also got the major cash prize of 20,000 kina.
What better way to celebrate the 13th edition of the JT Super 9s tournament on Sunday than having an all Mosby South affair fighting it out for this year's prestigious JT 9s Cup and a whooping cash prize of 20,000 kina. Sub-City Raiders, one of the foundation clubs of the old Mosby South off-season rugby league competition, took on the big challenge from new kids on the block, Border Storms, also an offspring from the Port Moresby South electorate, for the right to claim the major silverware. Unfortunately, Raiders fell short again at the hands of a slick Storms outfit, proving a class above their opponents and very dominant in attack and defense, scoring an avalanche of points in the second half to seal the deal at 31-12. Raiders were able to match the Storms' trading tries in the first half for a 10-8 scoreline in Storms' favor. However, Storms, led by Digital Cup season player Hoods Kawage, Captain Micah Haralu, Philemon Rax and Joseph Kumali, kept peppering their opponent's line, giving them little or no room to reset their defense and attack. Raiders only scored a consolation for their 12 points. At the post-match, Border Storms were presented the prestigious JT Super 9s Cup and the major cash prize of 20,000 kina. Runners-up Raiders got 10,000 kina. Storms captain Micah Haralu was over the moon and praised his boys for the great teamwork and commitment. He said they are a 13th team, but this was their first time to take part in the 9th game.
Big congratulations goes to the boys. They have put day in, day out, they have put their effort to win this cup. So big congratulations goes to all the boys.
Micah thanked Kawage and other senior players for setting the platform for the big win. He has vowed they will be back to defend the cup next year.
What's Kawage? Yes, really step up. Yes, really step up and yes, lead this game. So I'm really proud of him. His experience, so he lead by an example.
Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
And that ends the news tonight. Over to you, Maricela.
Thank you, Jasmine. Before we go, remember to apply the following simple measures to prevent transmission of the coronavirus. Regularly wash your hands with soap and water. Cough or sneeze into your elbow. And exercise social distancing. If you're feeling sick, please stay at home. You can also call the COVID-19 hotline number for more information or assistance. Thanks for your company. Bye for now.
The TVWAN News was proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.